Hi everyone, Alison here again with my lovely dog Charlie. We're going to read you another story today. This one is about dogs again. It's called The Trouble with Dogs by Bob Graham. And when I read this to myself, it made me think exactly of Charlie. He's not the best trained dog in the world, but we love him just the way he is. So here is The Trouble with Dogs. The trouble with dogs, said Dad, is that they take over your life. They ran the show. What show? Kate asked, and then straight away forgot her question. Look, she said, when I rub Rosie like this, her foot scratches like this. Have you done that with your dog? Interesting, said Dad. Said Mum. And they all gazed at Rosie, brought home from the rescue centre 8 months back in love and admiration. Move that cushion point, Charlie. There we go. While Rosie was large and soft, comfortable to lie as an old sofa, and endlessly patient, Dave was small and wild. He slipped and he slid. He leapt and he skittered. Take me as you find me, don't care, Dave. He's so exuberant, said Dad. What's that? Said Kate. Excited, joyful. And they all gazed at Dave, brought home along with Rosie, full of the joys of spring, said Mum. We say all these things about you, Charlie. Exuberant. Spring turned to summer and Dave was still Dave. Look, here he is running through the park. In the park, he cut a picnic party clean in two and ran right down the middle of the flower beds, just to show it could be done. Dave needs a firmer hand, said Mum. Someone to tell him no. They all looked at Dad. No, Dave, he said. No, Dave, Mum called a little louder. No, Dave, said Kate, as Dave jumped up to lick her on the nose. Oh, goodbye, Charlie. Summer drew to a close and there was still no change in Dave. He often tied Kate in knots, left small puddles on the kitchen floor, and pulled holes in the tights of all her school friends. Charlie! Charlie! Then one day he jumped uninvited onto a guest's lap and ate a cupcake straight off her plate. Oh no, said Dad, we need help. Excuse me. Mum went to the phone book. Look, she said, pup breakers. We tame troublesome beasts. That's it, said Dad. Let's call them, said Mum. Next day there stood the Brigadier at 9 a.m. sharp. What seems to be the problem? He asked. They all looked at Dave, a fresh garden flower hanging from his mouth. That dog needs lessons, said the Brigadier. Right now. Lesson 1 is just one word. A bird twittered nervously. One simple little word. No! It knocked the breath out of all of them. Dave dropped the flower, wet and glistening, onto the path. Head up, chin in, chest out, back straight, said the Brigadier. Lesson 2, here. Who, me? Said Mum. No, madam, the pup, replied the Brigadier. Oh, you mean Dave, said Mum. Dave, here. Charlie's playing with a sock. He's just like Dave. Lesson 3, the Brigadier went on, the slip chain. Threaded just so and placed carefully around the neck, it will enable you to control your animal. Ready, David? Dave did heel work, lead work, sit work. He trotted, he waited, and he came. No one had the heart for a short, sharp jerk on that chain. Oh, no, it would have hurt him. They don't want to hurt Dave. At last, the Brigadier said, "We're finished for the day. I'll be back next week to polish off the rough edges." He clicked the gate shut like a trap, while Rosie attended to some tiny creature deep in the crease of her leg. "What rough edges?" asked Kate. "Dave has nothing but soft and squishy bits." Dad didn't say a word, neither did Mum. Oh, look, this picture is so sad. In the following days, a change came over Dave. "The trouble is," said Dad, "he's lost his sparkle." "The trouble is," said Mum, "he's lost his crackle and fizz." "The trouble," said Kate, "is the Brigadier's lessons." Next week came round and so did the Brigadier. "Let's make a start," he shouted. Dave shivered, but he didn't run away. Instead, he tiptoed slowly forward. "Don't eat the book, Charlie." "He's saying he's glad to see you," said Mum. "To see me?" said the Brigadier. And then something extraordinary happened. The man from Pup Breakers smiled. At least Kate thought he smiled. It was difficult to see under his big moustache. "I think we should have some tea," said Mum. "And I think we should tell him," said Kate quickly. "What do you think they're going to tell the Brigadier? He's a bit scary, isn't he? He's a bit scary." "Tell me what?" said the Brigadier. Kate blinked and then Dad said that Dave doesn't need lessons anymore. "And why is that, young Kate?" "Because," Kate whispered, "because I think shouting hurts Dave's feelings and we should always be polite to our dogs." And then all at once, Dave slipped past Mum, he slid and he skittered and he leapt. Oh no, where's he going to go? Uh-oh, right up onto the Brigadier's lap, and he ate the cupcake straight off his plate. Then another extraordinary thing happened. "Perhaps you're right, Kate," the Brigadier said. "Perhaps we shouldn't shout at our dogs." He patted Dave's head. "You're a cute little fella," he said. "Share the crumbs with Rosie." And then he left. "The real trouble with dogs," said Dad the next day, "is that their ears are so silky. If you lay Dave's ears across your knees and you stroke them," "Have you ever done that before?" "Heaps," said Kate. Dave wagged his tail. "Lots," said Mum. Rosie Rosie's stomach rumbled. She fell asleep and snored. By the following spring, Kate had grown a little more. "Just move the chairs, Dad," she said. "Brilliant idea, Kate," says Dad. And now the sun warms them both. Wasn't that a lovely story? That's exactly how we feel about Charlie. He doesn't always do as he's told, but he's a very happy boy. Okay, hope you're all staying safe at home. We miss you. I wonder if I can get Charlie to wave goodbye. 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 See you all soon.